Order the regular meeting of the Wheeling Plan Commission for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. Please join us in the pledge. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Belanova. Commissioner Berkey.
Here.
Commissioner Sprague is here. Commissioner Yednek.
Present.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Malik.
Here.
Chairman Johnson.
Here. Ms. Nyes, any changes to tonight's agenda?
No changes.
All right, moving right along. Do we have any citizens' concerns and comments that were sent in prior?
No.
All right, consent items. Docket number SCBA 21-01, Hatch, 1500 East Lake Cook Road, for replacing a monument sign. And docket SCBA 21-03, the Mandarin Apartments at 500 Manda Lane, for a new ground sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Commissioner Yednek.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Belanova.
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Malik.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, items for review. Docket PC 21-01, minor site plan and building appearance review for Use Mandarin, 600 South Milwaukee Avenue. Ms. Nyes?
Thanks. So Use Mandarin, they're the new property owner, and they're seeking a minor site plan and a building appearance approval for exterior improvements on all four sides of the building. There's also a small 250 square foot addition proposed on the north facade that's going to create a larger vestibule and dry storage area. So this requires minor site plan and building appearance approval because they're making improvements to the visible portions of the facade. And I believe the architect is here to do the presentation.
Yes, that's me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ah, great, okay.
Just for the record, state your name and business address.
My name is Adam Shore and Midwest Design Group, and we are at 11445 Hillsborough Drive in Huntley, Illinois.
All right. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Basically what we're doing is we're taking this building, current building, which used to be a Chinese restaurant, which is in very, very bad shape right now. It needs complete new roof structure. It needs the canopy that you see in yellow is barely hanging onto the building, so that's going to be removed. All of the rotted wood siding that's on the building is going to be removed. Basically, the entire interior slab is going to be removed. There is no fire sprinkler system in the building right now. That's going to be provided. So essentially, we're going to almost be rebuilding this building from inside out, leaving the existing concrete block walls, replacing all of the existing storefront glass with new storefront glass, replacing all of the heating system, all of the electrical, because it's all in very, very poor condition. So essentially, it's going to be a brand new building when we're done with it. It's going to have a very nice appearance. It's going to be very energy efficient, and it's not going to be a hazard to the the community anymore, because right now it's a hazard if you walk in there into that building currently. It's going to have existing masonry is going to be painted. There's going to be some thin stone applied to the building. There's going to be some EIFS bands and things like that applied to the building. You can see the color scheme there. That's per the owner. It's going to have new rooftop units installed with high-tech aluminum screening, on there. It's going to be white. So they're doing everything right with the building. The owners really wanted to make sure that they had because it's such a prominent area on display. They want to make sure the building looks nice, and pretty much, it's going to be a brand new building by the time we're done.
Thank you. Anything else from your end?
No, we're pretty excited about it, and it's been a long time. It got delayed with COVID, and we started the drawings almost a year ago, and then the owner put everything on hold and things like that. So, we're pretty excited about it, and it's going to be a really nice building when it's done. And they got really good food.
All right, then we'll go on to the commissioners. Commissioner Sprague, let's start with you. You're muted.
You're muted.
Happens to everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hello.
I have a few questions. The first one being that has to do with the screening around the rooftop units.
Uh-huh.
That'll be built to sustain high winds?
Yeah, well, it depends on what the company that they choose to do it, but it's a reinforced aluminum screening system that has it has a lot of bracing in it and things like. It's designed to meet the current wind load.
Great, good, thank you. Have you considered a composite material for the trash enclosure gate at all instead of wood, or is it is wood the way that? It's a good option. That's what the owner instructed us to do was wood, but composite material could be used easily. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking for long-term wear and tear.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know if it's a budget reason that they decided they wanted to use wood, but, and I think also because it gives them a little bit of flexibility to fit the opening that's there, because it's kind of an odd size. Yeah. And the problem with going with composite is that you're pretty much limited to, if you're going to buy something pre-made, if it's vinyl or something like that, you're limited on your sizing. So yeah, I'm sure if that's something that the village would, request, that it's something that could be investigated to see if they, maybe had to close the opening up a little bit or pad it out with some treated material or something like that to be able to use a vinyl or a composite type material.
No, I'm fine with the wood, but I just wanted to mention that as an option if maybe, they would want to switch to something like that instead.
Yeah.
All right, my next item, the new light pole in the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
It states it's going to be 20 feet. Do you know if the existing one is 20 foot?
I do not know. The contractor might know. That's BJ. And I can see him there.
I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did not measure, but we don't mind, putting that up to 20 foot, minimum. You guys?
Yeah, I'm just concerned about light spilling into the neighbors' yards. That's all.
That's why recently we proposed, 14 foot tall, because the concrete base is about a couple feet high. So, adding a 14 foot pole will make it 16 footer. But you guys want it higher. I was really concerned about spilling the light over to the neighbor. But if you guys want it, higher, you can do it higher. That's
Yeah,
not a
I
problem.
didn't know if that it was requested to be 20 foot.
Yeah, I think
It
that
was
was something,
requested to be minimum of 20 foot.
yeah, I think
Okay.
that was something from BNF Technical. And, you know, they're probably going by the code book and things like that, but yeah, I would think if that 16 foot would certainly be high enough, because you do have that house right next door.
Hmm.
I think it's a
Yeah.
house.
It's apartment unit.
Apartment
that's
unit,
next.
apartment unit, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
But the
don't,
lamp itself is going to be like 220 watts, so it's going to be really bright. So
yeah, so we need to be concerned about any kind of light spilling into the neighbors' yards then. I
Yeah.
don't know if it will with the 20 foot or not, but it's just a concern that I have.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be investigated easily.
Okay, thank you. And my last thing, it looked like the cinder block that surrounds the trash enclosure, it looks like that the cap on there is deteriorating. It might need a new cap.
We have a new cap noted.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
limestone cap.
All right, great. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Can I just jump in just with a
Yeah, go ahead.
response? When we took a look at it, the existing light pole is roughly 25 feet tall.
25? So 20 is,
Yeah, 20 should be appropriate.
that was a village recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Blanova.
I have no question. It was good. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Thompson.
Hi, yes, thank you. My only question that I had was about, I know this was existing already with the previous owners, but the entrance that's there, it's an enter-only portion, and I was wondering if there's any thought on making that an exit only. When I went there, my concern is that people are gonna be trying to move in there real fast. There's a lot of traffic that they'll have to cross over in order to get into that entrance. And so just going there myself, I noticed I'm like trying to go in and it's, going right in towards the door where people are going to be walking. And so I just had a thought of if that could possibly be an exit only, but I know that the parking spots are not set up in that way. It just seems like a little bit of a hazard to me.
BJ, do you want to address that, or do you want me to?
now you can do it, but as you said, the parking lot on the facing Manchester Road is in an angle parking. So if that's the only problem we have, we make that entrance from Milwaukee Avenue an exit only. People will have hard time parking on the parking spaces, facing Manchester Road.
Okay, so that there would be an issue angling the opposite direction. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you angle the spots the same way that you would angle Milwaukee Avenue, you would, Manchester Road it's a side street basically, correct? And you got Milwaukee Avenue, which has heavy traffic. And I think that if you had a one way in, one way out, you would be dumping a lot of traffic onto Manchester Road. And then you've got the apartment building right next door, which probably has some, significant traffic. So I think by limiting the in and out, you might be, creating a situation where you're gonna really create a lot of traffic on Manchester Road. Where if it's in and out in either direction, then people will probably tend to go out Milwaukee Avenue. Just because, when you come into a restaurant, you're probably going to, go out Milwaukee Avenue. That would
Well,
be
right
my
now
guess.
it's enter only. It's enter only that way.
Enter only. Okay. So,
So it's
enter
not-
only from Milwaukee, and exit only from Manchester?
Actually, it's either way on Manchester. You can come and go either way on Manchester. It's just coming off of Milwaukee. It's an enter only, and so my question was if that could be changed to an exit only, because I do know it is a bit narrow for you to be able to get traffic either way. So my thought was on angling everything to the one direction, so then it also, I feel like, kind of goes with the flow of traffic a little bit too. If your people are exiting out of that location, and then they can just start heading south on Milwaukee from
Right.
there. But
Right. Would you be concerned of everybody having to turn onto Manchester Road to enter in as far as traffic, the amount of traffic?
no, not entering on Manchester. I just thought it's a bit of a hazard again. So when I was pulling in, I saw that that was the entrance spot. I hadn't visited this location before this time, so
Yeah.
just tonight as I was pulling in, I just I'm trying to get between the cars, so I'm coming from the south heading north, and so I'm turning left into there.
Yeah.
And so I'm coming in trying to get in between the cars that are heading south on Milwaukee Road. So my concern is that, just people will be trying to zoom in there, and there's and that's where people will be walking, things like that. So I thought if it's an exit only, there'll be more caution, cautious drivers as they exit versus as people zip into the parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, the spots could be angled the other way. It just might be, we might lose one or two spots because the first two coming in off of Manchester might be hard to pull into unless you kind of went, even if you went around, they would be very difficult to pull into. But we could keep, the other, there's 13 there. We could, end up with 11 and, lose the first two here and just rotate all these, the same direction as they are on Milwaukee. That would easily be done.
Yeah, if it's something that's. Oh, I'm sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
That
The
would
only
probably
concern I have
require-
is
Yeah, I
people
was gonna
trying to
say.
leave the restaurant after dining. Everybody is going to try to exit from this small entryway facing Milwaukee Avenue. If someone tried to make a left turn, I think this parking will have we're going to have problem operation wise. Everybody's trying to exit that once a narrow entrance and make a left turn. It'll be very difficult to exit from this restaurant. The only concern I have.
And I thought about that too, and I was thinking it could be just you could have a sign out there that's just right turn only, if that made sense. And this is just something that I'm not a designer or anything like that when it comes to things. So, these are just thoughts that I had as I'm going in there, and I'm wondering about how if there's a potential hazard there.
Yeah, so any changes to that access would need to go through the Illinois Department of Transportation, which, BJ, I'm sure you know that. So that would, just so that you guys know, and then any reduction in parking would most likely result in the need for a variance. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at any changes.
Yeah, I think you'd want to avoid IDOT at all possibility.
Yeah.
Because that would just, make it, how IDOT is. It takes forever to do anything.
And
Okay,
they may
that
be
was
the
fine.
reason, that it is enter only at this point.
Yeah,
Because it's a
maybe.
wide enough driveway, but they may have stepped in and made it entrance only.
Yeah, that is just my only concern as I was looking at that, and I myself trying to get in through the traffic, so. But that's all for me. Thank you so much, and I'm excited about the new plans that you guys have for the building, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Berkey, you're next on my gallery here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions, but I did just want to say that it's great to see that building is being rehabbed, and I think it'll look great when it's done. Thank you.
Commissioner Yednek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first question I have is more for Ross and Mallory, and it's just more follow-up to our training session at the last meeting. I just kind of want to understand why this was a minor site plan as opposed to a major. I mean, they're doing a lot of work, and I appreciate the work, but what's the dividing line, just for future understanding?
Well, I can answer that
Yeah,
unless
go
you guys
ahead.
want to.
Yeah, you
It's
go
1,000
ahead.
square feet of building addition.
What, I'm sorry, so you got talked
It's
over.
1,000 square feet of building addition.
2,000, did you say?
1,000.
1,000.
Also, okay, so the aesthetic and the facade changes don't really count, it's more of a adding to the building itself?
It's adding to the building or adding major features like landscape, like large landscape berms or a detention basin. It could be a large addition to a parking lot, something like that. But for this case, the only change is the small addition. The minor versus major has nothing to do with the amount of facade change.
Okay, all right, like I said, it was just more for understanding, because they're doing a lot of work, so, thanks, Mr. Sung and Mr. Shore, and like, Commissioner Berkey said, I appreciate the work that you guys are gonna do, it looks like it's gonna be good. It looked like a tired building, I didn't realize it had structural issues.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it sounds like there's more under the covers than I realized, I just know it looks like a tired building. The one confusion that I had from trying to understand the drawings, is just where is the building addition's gonna be where the existing entryway is?
There's only a very small addition that is to the left of where all the storefront glass is, and that's mostly for dry storage. It's basically, this area right in here. A little bit of it is for the reception area, but majority of it is for dry storage. And that's basically all we really needed to add to the building. Plus, it increased the glass facing Milwaukee Avenue, so it gave an aesthetic appearance to the building, rather than having what it looks like right now.
I guess more what I was wondering though is that, is the existing doorway, there's still gonna be a front entrance there? Because when I looked at the renderings, it looked like it was more just glass. I didn't realize that those are doors now, and it looked like the only door was just at that south, or I'm sorry, the north.
Yeah, the only door is the entry to the south. It's on the side of the vestibule. So it would be entering from the side right here. So it would be one of the
I don't know
other.
where your right here is.
Yeah, this is all storefront glass right here.
I don't see your right here. I'm not seeing a mountain.
Oh, okay.
Right here is going across the screen out for you.
Oh, okay. But basically, if you're looking at it from the north elevation, that's all storefront glass. If you look at it from the what elevation is it? It's the west elevation. That's where the entry is, right over there on the side, because they've got a ornamental feature inside the vestibule entry area, or the reception entry area, and they wanted a lot of glass facing Milwaukee Avenue. So they didn't want the customers to come in the center of the building, basically.
Okay. Then I guess the question, this would be for staff, or when I'm looking at the picture of the old building, it looks like they might have had doorways on each side of the vestibule, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not seeing it.
No, you're correct. There's a door on either end of the current vestibule, and then there's a set of double doors that are in the center of the vestibule, and that they didn't want to have that type of traffic pattern.
But my question is this still going to be compliant with fire codes and?
Yeah.
And,
it's compliant with all fire regulations.
Okay. Let me go back. I think that was it. I just couldn't. I had a tough time picking out the addition and the entryways. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Malik.
I have no questions. I just want to thank Commissioner Yednick for asking that clarifying question. I too was wondering the difference. But yeah, I'm excited about the changes. It's good to see that safety is going to be improved in that building.
Very good. I've really had nothing other than what's already been discussed. I would like you to consider the composite material for the trash enclosure as well, just because it lasts longer normally. But that was all I had in my notes. Any other questions from the commission? Nope. All right. Ms. Nyes, are there conditions on this?
Yes, there's one condition. The planning division shall inspect the existing landscaping in the spring of 2021 to determine if the landscaping on the site remains compliant with the landscaping plan by Earl H. Jensen, architect and consultant, dated 9/21/83 and approved 12/5/83. Any landscaping identified to be replaced shall be completed by June 1st, 2021.
All right. With that condition, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I hear
Second.
two.
Commissioner Yednak,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yep, he's muted.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Malik,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, Ms. Nyes will be, well, this does not have to go to the board, right?
No, I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
All right,
Yeah, you'll pretty much just now move through with your, finishing out your building permit.
and welcome to Wheeling. It looks like a great addition.
Hopefully everybody can start going to restaurants again.
Yeah, yeah. At least you got time to get the work done, and
Yeah,
maybe by the time you're done, we can all go there.
it's
Thank you
got
very
good
much.
food. There's a location in Hoffman Estates if you wanna, I don't know if they're open or not, but they got takeout.
Isn't there one
They're
in
open.
Vernon Hills too?
I think so, yeah, Vernon Hills too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have, get back to my agenda here. Docket 2020-37, text amendments to Title 19 of the Wheeling Municipal Code and associated sections in order to modify regulations regarding the keeping of chickens. But nobody ever thought they would get involved with this discussion when they joined the Plan Commission. Ms. Nyes, anything, or should we just hand it over to Mr. Clicker?
Hand it over to Mr. Sprague for reading of the public hearing.
I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Sprague, it's public hearing.
Village of Wheeling is seeking comprehensive text amendments for Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code and associated sections in order to modify regulations regarding the keeping of hens, chickens on residentially zoned property. A text amendment is an amendment to the map and/or text of zoning ordinance which affects the whole village. In order to be considered for a text amendment, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed text amendment is compatible with Title 19 and the comprehensive plan. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for a text amendment as established in Title 19. The commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record with a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting material submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Nyes, anything before we hand it over?
No,
No?
no.
All right, Mr. Clicker.
Good evening, everyone.
I s-
Yes, this is a matter that
I
comes to
suppose
you.
I have to swear you in first. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
Yes.
All right. Now,
Good evening, everyone. This is a matter that comes to you from the village board. This was a straw poll was taken by the village board at their November 2nd, 2020 village board meeting, in which they indicated that they wanted staff to prepare some draft regulations for their consideration. This is in no way, shape, or form a done deal. The board has not approved anything. And also, I would like to note that this is only for what's before us tonight is, as you know, your prerogative is for Title 19 of the zoning code. If, based on our discussion tonight, that could impact the other regulations that are needed, and they are in Title 7, which requires regarding the keeping of animals in the community. So we are not presenting anything with Title 7, one, because it is not in the prerogative of the Plan Commission, two, because our discussions tonight could very well impact the draft language for Title 7. However, Title 7 will be presented with any recommendation that comes from the Plan Commission to the village board when they take this up for consideration based on our discussion tonight. For everyone's reference, what we utilized for any of these code regulations that are being proposed with the keeping of hens and chickens in town is we look to neighboring communities that have already addressed this issue, if you will. And excuse me, and we looked for a community that had very similar nature in lot sizes to the village of Wheeling, because we couldn't just very well state that chicken coops and that could only be kept on a certain lot size, because that would be very limiting to the community. So we looked at a community very similar to ours in lot sizes, overall lot sizes, and that community is Rolling Meadows. If anybody wishes to actually see the ultimate implication of what we're talking about, Rolling Meadows has adopted these ordinances, and we're using that as a guideline. So in that, what we're asking you to review tonight are the aspects which are relevant to zoning, and that is, one, the definition of a chicken coop, two, the placement or setback of chicken coops, and the height of chicken coops. Those are the aspects that are being asked of you tonight. The proposal would be to add a definition of a chicken coop. As I said, it would establish setbacks of 10 foot from any property line and any residential structure for a chicken coop, and a maximum height and size. Also, the size of the chicken coop. The height would be 8 foot maximum in height, and the size maximum would be 100 square feet. With that, we're more than willing to answer any questions regarding that.
all right, this is a public hearing. I believe we have a citizen that would like to speak on this.
Yes, I'm going to allow Mr. Stylen I'm going to promote him right now to a panelist so he can speak. So just give it a minute. 1 second. And then Mr. Stylen, you'll just need to unmute yourself and be sworn in.
Can you see me?
No, your video's not on.
Your video is still off.
Okay, hold on, I gotta find the crazy button. Oh, it says I'm on.
There you go. Now
There
we
you
have
are.
you.
Now we got you.
Alrighty,
Mr. Stein,
you gonna swear me in?
I am. Do you swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
Yes.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Terry Stylen, 473 Briarwood Drive, Wheeling, Illinois.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, let me say that I'm neither for nor against the ordinance change that you're considering tonight, because I don't have sufficient information to make a decision at all. You're being asked to allow something to happen and yet there's a lot of other information or rules, ordinances, whatever, involved in Title VII that will control what can be done, where it can be done, how it should be done, you know, smells, all kinds of other stuff, I'm sure. And I would like to believe that as representatives of the village of Wheeling on the Plan Commission, that you would like to have all information before you make a recommendation on whether you're going to allow this change to happen or not. I have submitted a FOIA request to the village, and I got the answer today, unfortunately too late to make a public comment, but they basically say that there is no information available on any recommended thoughts, changes that have been made or are being thought to be made. So, you know, I think the Plan Commission should have some idea about what's going to happen or could happen. And then, yeah, you can't make the changes to Title VII, but that might give you some additional information to help you make a decision on whether it's something that should go become viable in the village or not. Like I said before, I don't have any information at all. I'm hoping that some of that information comes out tonight. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clicker, any response to that?
Certainly. Just as I indicated, the prerogative of the Plan Commission is Title 19. Title 7 is, when those changes are made to that, it is presented directly to the village board for their consideration. However, our discussion will impact that could potentially impact that eventual drafted language. Therefore, we have not finalized any draft language for that. But as I indicated in my opening, we have modeled it off of a similar community, and that community being the city of Rolling Meadows, a fairly close community to us. I can tell you that, again, we are going to base our drafted language for Article 7 based on those adopted ordinances of the city of Rolling Meadows. So I can tell you that there will be language in there regarding that they will need to be licensed with the Illinois Department of Agriculture. If they decide to keep hens on their property, they will need to be have a minimum of 2 hens and a maximum of 5. There would be regulations regarding the keeping of food, regarding the cleanup of the animals themselves, if they're going to, whether or not they can slaughter animals, which I can tell you right now that answer is no, and what if they could sell the eggs that are produced. So again, I don't want to commit to anything in Title VII because it has not been finalized. Based off of our discussion tonight, that could actually impact the proposed language that is going to be presented to the village board. And again, when that is presented to the village board, it will be made available to them in their packet in advance, which would then be available for review.
In Rolling Meadows case, who monitors this? Is this the health department?
In the city of Rolling Meadows, it's actually, they have a different structure than we do. They actually run everything through their public works department. We do have the benefit of having a health officer, and we would basically run them through the community development / health officer process for licensing and approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to the commissioners. Commissioner Sprague, let's start with you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Clicker, you know, in light of what has been said so far, you know, I do, even though we don't have the power to change or make any kind of recommendations for the Title VII, the odors are still a concern for me. How can you just explain to us maybe how that would be handled if there is a complaint for odor, and then how it's enforced as far as taking care of the problem. You know, someone that's downwind from someone else, they may have quite the concern for this.
Certainly. The odor would be handled no differently than any odor in the community. We do have established procedures and policies, excuse me, and codes for noise, for odors, for everything along that nature, and we would utilize those existing property maintenance codes for investigation and enforcement.
And,
Okay.
and Commissioner Sprague, I
Yes.
actually have, if we're going to be looking at the City of Rolling Meadows code, similar to our code currently for odors, it does relate to anything that's perceptible beyond the property boundaries. So it would be easy, and it'd be declared a nuisance similar to any other odor complaints in the village of Wheeling.
Okay, thank you. The only other suggestion I had was that maybe you could consider some kind of wording that would explain that roosters are prohibited.
That is also Title VII language, yes.
Right. It was just a suggestion that maybe that should be included.
Every community that we looked at included that in their animal regulations. It is obviously something that you don't want to have happening every morning to have a noise issue. So yes, every community that has approved the keeping of hens, it has specifically said the keeping of hens for a reason. So
Yeah, I know it says that, but I know how, things are read. If it doesn't say it, it doesn't always. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Blanova.
I have no question.
Okay, Commissioner Thompson.
No questions from me, thank you.
Commissioner Yednick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to take the training to heart again that we had last meeting. So the one question I had is it even within the Planning Commission's purview or scope of powers to vote yay or nay on chickens? I kind of got the impression that we can't, as a board, recommend turning the whole concept down. We can just make our input onto the Title 19 language. Is that true?
that is correct. And again, what we're asking you to look at is the definition of a chicken coop, the setbacks for chicken coops, the heights for chicken coops, and the sizes of chicken coops. If you choose that, if you believe, and again, there's no preconceived conclusion to anything that is before you. The board has not approved anything. It's not like this is a rubber stamp in any way. If you, as the Plan Commission, believe that those setbacks are inappropriate, or there shouldn't even be a definition of a chicken coop in town because it shouldn't be there, that's the prerogative of the Plan Commission.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if I had a choice to vote yay or nay on chickens, I would vote nay. I would vote against it. But I just wanted to. I don't think that's what's really in front of us. Like you're saying, what's in front of us is the zoning code. I did go back and watch the village board meeting to refresh myself and to kind of get a sense of where their positions were. I know. I can't remember. It's they call him board member or trustee. Trustee Kruger was absent, but she did submit a written statement, and they were almost about split on whether or not they wanted the chickens. But the one thing that they did talk about a lot was the zoning areas that it would be allowed. And I see that in this proposal we're doing R1, R2, and R3.
Correct.
And I heard your explanation earlier, but I guess if I were going to make an opinion or take a poll, I would say R1, yes, R2, maybe, but probably against, and R3, I would vote no at all. I think those lot sizes are too small. And I know you did point out in the village board is that because of the setback requirements that are proposed, somebody would end up with a chicken coop right smack in the middle of their yard probably, because those lot sizes are up to 6,000 feet. So if we could make that recommendation, I would prefer to say R1 yes, R2 maybe, and see what the rest of the board feels, and R3 no, but I don't know if we can make that decision or not. I understand your concern, and I did know that Commissioner or Trustee Kruger had said at the meeting, or no, it was Trustee Papantos that was not there. Trustee Kruger was there, and I know she said at the board meeting she wanted to spread the pain. You know, she said if they had to pick lot sizes, she wanted everybody to suffer because she's in one of the R1 districts and has big lot sizes, and she didn't want all the chicken coops to end up in her neighborhood.
Yeah, I share the pain, but I would say yes. If we restricted it to the R1 and R2, it's basically one neighborhood of the community.
Well, aren't there some R2 though? I looked at the map also to study this. There are quite a lot of R2 zones. The R1 is just probably the one zone, Commissioner Kruger's zone. I saw there's some down by along like Wolf Road and that area. There's quite a few R2 zones. R3, I just look at, I'm off of Childerley Park. I'm in the condos, so it wouldn't even be acceptable in my development. But I look across the stream, and there's a lot of small yards there. And to have a bunch of chicken coops lined up along the creek there, again, well, you know, we got the coyote problem. I guess if the Plan Commission had the right to vote, I would be in favor of R1, maybe R2. I would not be in favor of R3, but if that's not within our scope, then I guess we don't really have that choice. Other than that, as far as the setbacks, the size, I think you guys have come up with a good plan. I have no objections or modifications that I would recommend on that. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Malik.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Berkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if I heard correctly, but Ross, you mentioned that other towns handle their chicken coops through the public works. So in Wheeling, do we have any idea who would inspect that regulation, such as noise with, you know, not having roosters and fecal matter and urine is being cleaned up?
We have property maintenance inspectors in our community development department that would be in charge of or charged with doing that. That's why I said in Rolling Meadows, they just do it through their public works department because, believe it or not, Rolling Meadows actually does not have a community development department. So it's just their governmental structure that they have that they said public works. But we would handle it all through community development where we have established inspectors who verify property maintenance standards and that on a daily basis in the community.
Okay, great. And then the only other thing is I would echo Commissioner Yednak's comments about the zones and maybe taking another look at where we want to put these because, you know, I myself live in an R3 and most of the houses where I live, I don't think anybody would want to have a chicken coop right there by their yard at this point. So that's kind of, you know, what would be one of my concerns.
And that is why we did put the 10-foot.
That's all I had.
But smaller lots, it does become, I don't want to say, you know, it's still going to be, whether it's a large lot or a smaller lot, it's still going to be 10 feet away from the property line minimum. So.
That it? I think that's everybody except me. So, Mr. Clicker, how much interest has there been in raising chickens? And do we have people lined up waiting for this? Or?
Well, we do have, honestly, what brought this to the village's attention was we had two different residents who came to the village board to request the board take it up for consideration, and this was after our property maintenance inspectors had found that they were keeping chickens in their yard. So I know of two.
Yeah, I know of one near where I live, because I saw the chickens walking down the road one day. So there's been a minimum amount of interest.
Yes. And again, not that Title VII is what we're talking about tonight, but we are going to model off of Rolling Meadows. Rolling Meadows put in a maximum number of licenses that would be issued per year. I did contact Rolling Meadows and say, have you gotten anywhere, you know, do you have a waiting list? And they said, we've come nowhere close to anybody ever requesting enough licenses to be even considering changing the maximum number of coops allowed in town.
Can you tell us what their maximum is?
25.
Oh.
And I believe they said they had 3.
Yeah. Okay.
You have Commissioner Sprague is waving his hand
I'm
to
sorry.
speak again.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you. Is this a permitted process? Do they have to get a permit if they want to have a chicken coop?
They would need to be licensed, yes. And the coop itself would be a permit, yes. There would be a building permit necessary for the chicken coop.
Okay, so there's additional oversee that way too.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And you said that was a state license?
Illinois Department of Agriculture, they need to be certified through as a, for lack of a better term, an animal handler. But they would then also be, in providing that information to the village, would be able to obtain a local license for keeping of hens.
Thank you. Commissioner Yednick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I guess before we vote on the actual proposition or the motion, would we want to do a poll on the zoning areas, or is that? I guess I didn't understand if we could do that or not, if that's within our scope of powers.
That is definitely within your scope of powers. You determining where you would want, which districts you would want to allow certain uses is within your scope of powers. So that would be appropriate.
I would, Mr. Chairman, I would ask that, you know, we take a poll on what we would recommend as a group.
All right. So in your point of view, you're just saying not in R3, or you want us to ask
maybe
for
the
all
best
3?
way to attack it is do all 3 and do a poll on all 3.
Okay. So let's start with you.
I'm yes on R1, probably no on R2 and no on R3, but I think R2 would be acceptable to me.
Commissioner Sprague.
I'm okay with all 3.
Commissioner Blanova.
Okay with all 3.
Commissioner Thompson.
I'm okay with all 3, especially if we have a maximum amount of coops that can be inside Wheeling, so.
Okay. Commissioner Malik.
I'm yes on all 3.
And Commissioner Berkey.
I'm yes on R1 and R2, no on R3.
And I would also be no on R3. So basically, we're all okay with R1. We've got one could take or leave R2. And we've got 4 and 3 against R3.
So I think the point is just to let the village board.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the board will.
Get our pulse of feelings.
And that's if we approve the text amendments right now. Anything else, Mr. Clicker?
No, sir.
Anyone else on the commission? Mallory, anything from your end?
No, nothing else.
Okay, then I guess we need a motion to approve the text amendments.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Yednak,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Belanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Malik,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
I'm going to say no. So we have 6 yes, 1 no.
Well, let me ask a point of clarification then, because I said personally I would be opposed to the chickens, but I was told that we're not really voting yes or no on the chickens. We're just voting on the text amendment language. So,
And whether or not we need that text amendment.
well, I guess if I'm not, maybe Mallory can explain this. If I'm not making a decision on yes or no on the chickens, all I'm really doing is look at the text amendment, and if ultimately the decision on the chickens is out of our hands, the text amendment is reasonable to me if I'm not making a decision yes or no on chickens. So can I understand? Because I would change my vote to a no if I'm in a position to say yes or no on chickens. So Mallory, can you help me understand?
I mean, it's kind of a chicken and egg situation because by
You were waiting all night to do that, weren't you?
because obviously chicken coops cannot be allowed, thus chickens cannot be allowed unless a chicken coop is added as an accessory structure within the zoning code. So in doing that, you are paving the way to have chickens allowed because they cannot be allowed but for a chicken coop.
Seems like
But you're not making the ultimate decision on yes or no, because that is under Title VII. Well, either way, it's by the board, but that is more under Title VII. But unless I guess we just had free-range chickens without a coop, you have to.
Only when they get out.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any better way to explain it. I mean, there is, if you're against chickens and thus amending the code to allow the coops, then that would be okay as well.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I don't think my vote's gonna sway it one way or the other.
It's not gonna sway the recommendation of the commission. We
Yeah,
can make a note in the minutes that you want it to be reflected.
Yeah, I guess I'm fine with the amended language. I would prefer not, but if I was on the village board, I would vote no on the chicken. So I guess we could keep my yes vote.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't be more clear. It's hard to parse this one out a little.
Well, it seems like a sneaky way to deny it from the planning commission part. Just like you said, cut the legs out from under them, and then they can't have chickens or free range chickens. Okay, thanks. Sorry to take up so much.
Oh, you're fine. It's a good question.
Okay, so it passes, but with well, no, we didn't change the R3 thing because that was still 4-3. So the board will be informed of that we're concerned about the R3. And Commissioner Yednick's comments will be also noted.
Yes, they'll be part of the facts and findings.
All right.
We need to close.
If there's nothing else, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Yednak,
Yes.
Commissioner Belanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Malik,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, next up, we have approval of minutes of the regular meeting of January 27th of this year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Malik,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Yednak,
I read them this time, so yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, other business. Ms. Nyes, anything from you first?
I have nothing.
Nothing?
Nope.
Anything upcoming that we can get an early word on?
No, not really.
No more livestock?
No.
All right, Commissioner Yednak, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to ask staff when they go talk to Manda Lane about their sign approval, if someone could also talk to them about the temporary signs that they have out. They've had 3 feather signs and probably a half a dozen small signs trying to promote that they're leasing property for several months now, and some of them are getting kind of tired looking. And I don't know. I know with the COVID we're being a little more lax, but their sign's been out for a long time and they're getting pretty run down looking.
Address it.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Commissioner
That's it
Sprague,
for me. Thank you.
any other business?
Who's up?
You.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I have a couple of things. First off, there was a new business that started up on Dundee next to Jimmy John's called Discount Smoke Hub. Is there any info on that?
Go ahead. It's all you, Russ.
It's exactly what it says. It's a discount smoke hub. It is a tobacco store. They've met the building licensing requirements and zoning code requirements, and they are in the process of building out their facility to open soon.
I think they're already open.
They might have just opened, yeah.
Okay, the reason why I bring it up is I know that we've changed a few ways that we handle the process so that it's expedited, which I'm all for. But we did agree with if something is going to come in and not go through the plan commission or the board, that it get noted on the agenda so that we just have some kind of info that it did happen.
This is a use, though, that was there. It wasn't subject to any of the changes. Like we took the restaurants from special to permitted, and banks from permitted to special.
Right.
Tobacco stores were a permitted use all along. So
Okay.
we can look at putting a list of all proposed businesses on there with just I believe our recollection was when it was the businesses that would be impacted by those changes that we did.
Okay, all right, that's fine, thank you.
No, we like to know whatever's going on in town.
Right, yeah, it's good to be informed. It keeps us from guessing.
And then asking questions.
Right.
Chris-
Okay, and then the only other thing I have is I wanted to start a new tradition this year. I want to start recognizing when someone has an anniversary with the commission. And with that, Commissioner Yednak is 2 years today.
Thank you. Until I get fired.
Congrats. Congrats and thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't sure what my anniversary was because I got appointed to fill a vacancy, and then I don't know when I started back up a new one. So,
Well, it might not be the exact date, but it's going to be the meeting that's closest to that date. I will make sure everyone gets recognized.
thank you.
That's all I have.
Good idea. Commissioner Blanova.
I have nothing, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Commissioner Malik.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Commissioner Berkey.
Nothing from me, thank you.
All right. I don't know if anybody's been by the new fire station. That's really coming along. It already looks like the drawing. very impressed at how fast they're moving on that. And also a thanks to the public works crews that have been working through these last couple of weeks. I've seen them working on water main breaks out in the 0-degree weather. I can't imagine what that's like, and still having our streets cleaned from the snow. So hats off to those guys. Mallory, anything from the legal end?
Nothing from me. I think you all have heard enough from me for a while.
All right, then how about a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else?
So moved.
Seconded.
Commissioner Yednak,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanova. Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Malik,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you,
Good night, all.
everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.